Sup guys, you like learning about Smash Bros, right? That's probably why you watch these videos. Well, guess what? I worked on an 8-part video series with VSL, it's like a high school Smash League pretty much. I'm releasing them now on Medify. If you want to see them, you gotta join the supporter group. It's $5. Right now there should be 3 episodes out, and I'll be releasing the first part of this as well here on the YouTube, so you guys can get a taste of what you'll get if you were to join this group and see the full series. Hope you check it out. Bye-bye. Sup, it's your boy Dabuz'S. If you don't know who I am, I have been playing competitive Smash for over 10 years. Like, since Super Smash Bros. Brawl. And I have been a top 10 ranked player worldwide numerous times, winning many tournaments over the years. And I've been coaching for about 10 years at this point. So I know how to teach people to be good at Smashy Bros. And that is what we're here to do. 8 videos for your high school Smash League, just going over how to play the game and improve as well as you can. So with that out of the way, let's get to it. The first video is gonna be tier list, playstyle list, difficulty list, and just some other talking points before we even talk about how to play the game. I want to kind of establish general knowledge of the character roster in Smash, because we have 80 plus characters, right? There's a lot of information to absorb. So first, this is my tier list. This is not ordered within each tier, by the way. I know people are going to look at this and immediately go, oh my god, Dabuz'S. I disagree, you're wrong. Kirby is at least mid-tier plus. What is Cloud doing in top tier? He's clearly low tier. And what I'm going to say is, everyone has their opinions. I tried to make this list, based on both of my opinions, but just general tournament trends, the perspective of a top level player and characters playing at the top. So even if you don't agree, just keep that in mind. But I think most people would agree with most of these placements on this list, with a variance of you could bump most characters up or down one tier. Right off the bat, what I really want to say with this tier list is, generally speaking, while you want to play the character you enjoy the most, a lot of people like playing multiple characters, and I always tell people, if you want to do well, you want to play a good character. So I would say, assuming you're trying to win, I would mostly avoid characters in low tier and below. I think those characters just really struggle at higher levels of play, or even mid levels of play, honestly, to succeed. If you really like one of these characters, go for it, but you are going to make it harder for yourself. And I would honestly say, you're mostly better off playing a character in the high tier and above sections to maximize your reward for picking up and learning a character. So that's just worth keeping in mind. Obviously the better characters, we get top tier and then god tier, those characters are exceptionally good characters, and if you like one of those characters, you probably should play them. And then a lot of people ask me if they should play multiple characters. What I always tell people is no. To be more specific, I tell people that unless you're very good at the game, your fundamentals are solid, and you've been playing for a while, playing a second character seriously is going to hinder your growth as a player long term. Because a lot of people do it to cover matchups, and then you're splitting your time between 2 characters. You're not developing the problem solving skills to overcome your character weaknesses. You're trying to shortcut it by maybe playing another better matchup. Also, if you're just trying to learn 2 things at once, you're going to jumble the information you're learning. So what most people do is they get good with one character, and then when they're comfortable with one character, then they start working on another one into their rotation. That's how I did it, and I play 2 to 3 characters depending on how I'm feeling at top level, like Rosa, Olimar generally, and then sometimes Mimins in the mix. I played Palu in the past, Hit. I play a few characters, and that's just always been my process at least. Next up, we have the difficulty chart for characters. And once again, opinion based, you can disagree with me, just my general rule of thumb. I think most of this is pretty self-explanatory. Easy characters are just characters that have very effective game plans that are just very easy. They're simple, straightforward, they don't require too much execution, and if you mess up, you're not really getting punished too hard with them generally. Steve's in his own little tier because he's easy. However, you do need to learn how to make walls, which I think is more technical as a basic level skill to play a character than any other character in easy tier. If you can't make 3 wall block wall quickly, you can't play Steve. So that's kind of a hurdle to overcome, but otherwise he's an easy character. Next up, we have easy but punishing. The thing about these characters is they mostly have really bad recoveries, or they get comboed really hard, or potentially both. So they're very similar to easy, except these characters require you to have a certain fundamental skill in Smash to be successful with them, because every mistake you make can just end up losing a stock. Just keep that in mind. This is very noticeable with Cloud and Aegis players in particular. I see this a lot where they'll put themselves in the corner while playing a character with a bad recovery, and if you get hit while you're in the corner with a bad recovery, you might just get sent too far off stage and just not make it back off random moves. Next up, medium tier characters. Characters that aren't too difficult to play, but aren't like easy, like you have to work a little bit harder to see a reward with them, whether it's learning harder combos or tech, or maybe just a game plan that isn't quite as intuitive. Characters here are honestly also just lower tier characters. The better characters have stronger tools, which naturally makes them easier to play. And then you have medium execution heavy. These are the characters that, similar to the above, but they do have the caveat of like, you have to learn something that is particularly difficult. Like Joker combos, his drag downs and stuff. Not only doing them kind of difficult, but learning how to land those drag downs can be difficult. Or all the fighting game characters, right? They're combo heavy characters that require you learning inputs and stuff. And while I think their game plan is pretty easy, I think those combos are kind of hard. Sora, Nair loops, etc. And the difficult characters are just, I could name too many things about them to make them difficult. Whether it's they're very punishing characters, they require very good reactions, strong combo games, nuanced understanding of certain moves, or maybe managing your own unique mechanic like Pikmin or buffs. There's just a few things that make these characters pretty difficult to pick up. A lot of them are honestly rewarding to pick up when you learn those mechanics, but it's going to be a slower learning curve for sure. And then very difficult is like, you play these characters if you love them, because they are high time investment characters. They can be very successful, but you are going to be learning a lot just to hit a basic level of competency with these characters. So just keep that in mind. And I also like telling people this. The ease of use is important to keep in mind when you're picking up a character, not just because of time investment and like do you have the fundamental skills for it or not, but also easier characters tend to be better in bracket situations where you're nervous, right? Where if you're playing a character that's very easy, basic combos, game plan, whatever, you might get nervous and you'll still be able to play effectively even if you're messing things up because you're nervous. But if you're playing, a high execution character and you get nervous very easily and you start dropping those combos because you're nervous, that's really bad, right? So kind of know yourself a bit. Do you think you have ice cold veins, or are you someone that panic when you're game 5 down a stock? Because you might not want to pick a character that requires you to be calm and effective at all times if sometimes your play just goes into the garbage. And then the final list we're looking at is just the general play style of each character, right? And I really tried to put every character in their own section. That's why there's so few characters in All-Rounder. And most characters are multiple things at once. There's actually very few characters that are just one playstyle. I tried to pick what I think is most fitting instead of making 20 plus different categories, right? So All-Rounders, pretty self-explanatory characters, do a bit of everything. Pit in particular is a good character to play if you're not sure who you want to play. You can kind of play him and figure out what you like and dislike about the character and go from there. Pits are a pretty good character when you're not sure what you want to play. A Pokemon Trainer is just 3 characters in one that are very different. And then Wolf might be the opposite out here, and that's because I feel like he fit into too many categories decently well. And then Brawler. These are the characters that, as the name implies, like to brawl. These are the characters that are pretty good at getting close range versus the opponent, and then hit pretty hard, tend to be pretty durable, and tend to just have fast attacks that can overwhelm people. So you play these characters really if you're just trying to fight the opponent, right? You just want to, you're a little bit impatient, or you like the idea of hitting people with good combos, but not being this mobile character that's waiting for the opening, like a hit and run would be. And then heavyweight characters, their own tier, because most of them are similar to brawlers. The one that stands out really is K-Rool as more of his owner. These characters all trade tools to get in well, or having fast buttons, for having bigger buttons, hitting extremely hard so you can take stocks very early, and living very long. So the opponent's going to struggle to take your stock. People playing heavyweights really like read-based playstyles. They like calling someone out and doing a DK up B because it has armor to kill someone early, or hitting an Incineroar counter, or just committing to a Bowser forward smash, right? Those really gotcha type characters. Rushdown characters, you notice there's not many, and that's because Ultimate especially is a game where the better you get the game, the more you realize the most effective way to play is to play very defensive and kind of bait your opponents into mistakes and find those openings that way. So rushdown characters are unique in that these are the very few characters, in my opinion, that can kind of force their way in through their speed, and then have the attacks to stay on top of the opponent and overwhelm them. So yeah, and these characters are very popular for a reason. They're very fun characters. Falcon especially, I think everyone knows someone that just loves playing Falcon and running in with side Bs, dash grabs, and then going for down airs and knees over and over, right? Pretty fun. And hit and run characters. These characters, similar to Rushdown in that they're generally very fast characters, but the big thing is these characters, for one reason or another, aren't great at staying on top of the opponent. Maybe they do low damage on each hit and they trade poorly like Mithra does. Or maybe they're very lightweight like Pikachu. Or maybe they just don't have the best close range attacks, but they cover distance well like Joker. But the point is these characters want to kind of move around a lot, and they want to use that movement to bait the opponent. They want the opponent to think they're going in, see what the opponent does as a reaction, and then react to that reaction. So you're kind of playing an extra step with these characters where you're seeing how your opponent responds and then responding to that response. And you're doing a lot of conditioning where you kind of create the same scenario over and over, find patterns in your opponent's play, punish them, and go from there. Next we got zoners. Pretty obvious, I think, characters that just generally want to stay far away from the opponent, throw stuff out, and get random hits by throwing stuff out, or use throwing stuff out to get in. Like Samus, use a charge shot, the opponent blocks it, you run up, and you grab them, right? Or like, Min Min's throwing these arms out, and then she gets close enough with a neutral air because the opponent's like trying to jump over the arms. But the point is they demand a lot of respect because they control a lot of space, and when you play these characters, your goal is essentially to be able to constantly harass opponents and make the opponent play your game. And these characters tend to all be poor when they get hit, so you have to be really solid in your neutral to get the most out of them. One-touch characters that tend to have very high damage combos. One-touch is an exaggeration for most of these characters. Luigi and Kaz would definitely one-touch. And these are the characters where you kind of throw risk-reward out the window. Since your character can deal so much damage off so many hits super easily, your goal is to fish for specific combo starters and take stocks off 1 or 2 hits. Do a lot of damage, kill early, you have a lot of cheesy setups. And you might notice I put some characters here you wouldn't think of one touch as, like Puff, Meta Knight, Pichu. I will say this, I think I couldn't find a good category for Puff, but she has a lot of like combos that lead to like rest and a lot of good edge guards. Pichu has a lot of crazy combos that can kill you early. He's just not particularly good. Falcon might be an oddball here until you like learn his like crazy like ladder combos, and it's like, oh, okay. Like I feel like if you're a one-touch character type of player, you're someone that almost wants to skip neutral and just belligerently throw out options that can end games. Spacing characters, another very common archetype of characters, I'd say, because these are characters that they kind of play what you expect from Fundamental Smash. They have a certain range they're really good at, not as much range as zoners, but more range than brawlers. And they kind of want to keep people at that range. They have disjointed moves generally, like, sword hitboxes or Palutena shield to challenge people trying to attack them, outrange those attacks, and just kind of beat them for those attacks. And they're really trying to move in and out of that range to bait people into swinging, to harass people's shield when they're not swinging, condition people to shield so they can grab or shield break. And they're very controlling characters at like a specific mid-range. Denial characters is probably a weird category, right? Characters that mostly deny the opponent from playing the game, like Game Watch Up B, add a shield is such a strong option that really invalidates a lot of characters' game plan, right? So he denies most characters their game plan. Steve makes block walls, and then the opponent has to get past the block walls and can't really space or do what they want because they're dealing with block walls and they have to approach into Steve's resources. Sora, between his amazing ledge game, defensive fireballs, like very floaty, jump with his big hitboxes, it's just like hard to pressure, so he's good at denying people from playing their game once again. And then Bayonetta is here because like Saibi keeps you from jumping if she's super good at it. She escapes combos, she doesn't get edge guarded or juggled or ledge chopped really, so like a lot of characters get their damage in Smash on their advantage state. They hit you and they keep you in a bad spot. And then Bayo's like, you hit me, that's cool, I'm getting out of this bad spot. So yeah, they're all very unique characters, and that's why I categorize them in this category. But like they're all very different from each other. Controller characters that, put a lot of things on the screen, and by putting these attacks on the screen, are able to control one space while doing something else at the same time. Yeah, like projectiles, grenades, Gordo. Pretty standard. It's kind of like a zoner-esque archetype where you want to control a lot of space and force people to fight you. But the difference is you're not really trying to hit the opponent necessarily. You're mostly trying to hit the place where the opponent might go, deny them from going there, and then you want to like take that space so you can slowly corner them, get into a spot you can harass them, and kind of make your opponent eventually make bad decisions by limiting all the positions that could be good for them. Snake is really the only character of this list that's considered like very good in competitive play. And then Mewtwo uses his own archetype, Glass Cannon, hits very hard, very fast, very good attacks, but he is massive and light and easy to combo. You either destroy someone or you lose very hard with this character, and there's no in between. But anyway, so that is the list. Like, and keep on, this isn't just for you picking a character. This is for your fighting someone as well. You could look at these and go, okay, what are the general things to know about a character that is a rushdown? What are the general things to know about a character that is a controller, a one-touch, right? And you can build your game plan on the expectation that this is the average playstyle someone using these characters is going to have. So the point of this tier list, this character difficulty list, this playstyle list, is to empower you with knowledge needed to make the right choice of character. Because, there's over 80 characters in Ultimate. That's a lot of characters. A lot of people go through a character crisis where they pick a character, after playing the character for a bit, realize that character wasn't the right fit for them, drop the character, and basically wasted a lot of time. We're trying to avoid that. We want you picking the right character for you and then destroying everyone with that character, right? Awesome. I will see you for the next one of these videos. Until then, you have a good one. Good luck practicing.